Hi, I'm Shashi. In this video, I'll talk about how to crack off-campus interviews of tech giants like Amazon, Microsoft, Adobe, etc. I'll share my own experience and the experience of my friends, my seniors, my juniors who have cracked the off-campus interviews of these companies. First of all, I'll talk about the resume preparation and shortlisting, and then I'll talk about the interview preparation, that how you can prepare for the interviews, and then I'll share some tips and tricks to do that. There are two steps to crack any interview. The first step is to get the interview call, and the second interview is to crack the interview, right? So first of all, I'll talk about how to get the interview call, how someone can get his or her resume shortlisted. What are the things that matter to get the resume shortlisted? So let me talk about the points which are important to get your resume shortlisted. So the first thing is your current company. If you are a working professional, then your current company matters a lot to get the interview call. And if you are a college fresher, then your college name matters a lot. In fact, if your experience is less than 2-3 years, then both of these things matters, your college name and your current company. So my point is basically, if you are, let's say, if you are in Microsoft, then you can easily get the interview call from Google, right? So if you are in a non-company, in a non-startup, then you can easily get the interview call from these tech giants. Second thing is skill set, your profile. Let's say if you are a backend developer, let's say if you are a Java backend developer and there is a vacancy for the same in these companies, then you can easily get the interview call. So of course your profile and your skill set matters. Mainly for the experienced candidates which are working somewhere. And if you are a college fresher, then your CGPA and projects can matter a little bit. So if you are a student in final year in any college, then to get your resume shortlisted, some tips are you should make your online presence on some job websites. Like LinkedIn is the best thing, right? LinkedIn, Naukri.com, Indeed.com, Shine. There are a lot of websites where you can create your portfolio, your profile, and the recruiters will contact you if they find your profile impressive. So basically you should make your online presence on these websites. So it is for both. It is for college students and it is for working professionals as well. Like when I was working in Paytm, so I got the interview call from Adobe through Naukri.com. And in fact, till now, I get a lot of interview calls from different companies on LinkedIn itself. So these two sites are very important. So make your profile impressive there. And so to get your resume shortlisted, the first thing you can do is make your resume impressive. And how you can make your resume impressive? The one way is, join a non-company and learn the skill sets. And then your projects matter. Let's say, if some company is hiring for a machine learning engineer and you have done some impressive projects on machine learning, then it's easier to get the interview call for that profile. And CGPA is a good thing, but these things don't matter a lot. Then college name, I don't think you can change your college name. But if let's say if you are from a third-year college, then also you can get an interview call. So another way to make your profile impressive is, let's say if you have won some hackathons or you are a very good competitive coder on CodeChef or Codeforce as a top coder. So these things matter. So let's say if someone is 6-star coder on CodeChef, that means he's really good coder. So companies can, call you for the interviews. So these are something like Google has off campus through the Kickstart, so you can read about those things. And many companies like Coordination also hire off campus through their coding challenge. So you can apply through these things. And if you are a working professional, then it's easier to get the interview call. Let's say your working experience is 2+ years, then if your profile is ready on LinkedIn or on Naukri.com or on some other websites, then you can easily get the interview call irrespective of your college, your company name, right? But for a fresher, it's very difficult to get the interview call. I mean, that's the truth. If your college name is not that good. So other things that you can do is just make a great resume with the help of great projects. And competitive coding is one thing. If you are really good competitive coder, or let's say if you are really good at open source, let's say if you are qualifier of GSOC, Google Summer of Code, then these are the points which matter and which can be the eye catcher for the recruiters. So yeah, I mean, if you have some experience, then it's easier to get the interview call. If you are a college fresher, then you must work on your resume, on your profile, like on projects, on competitive coding or some other things which will help you to get your resume shortlisted. And if you are from a good college, then it's always a plus point. You will get the interview call easier. But if you are from a third tier college, still you can get the interview call when you are in college itself. And to get the interview call, just win some hackathons, just do well at competitive coding, or just qualify for the GSOC. So these are some things which you can showcase in your resume. And for working professionals, if your experience is more than 3 years, then your college name won't matter much. Your current company will matter a lot. So let's say if you are in a very small company, in very unknown company, which is not very famous, then it's very rare that you'll get the interview call from these tech giants. So the one thing you can do is you can join some known companies. Like you can join if you are in India, then you can join the Indian startups like Paytm, Swiggy, Rivigo, and you can get the interview call from these companies very easily, right? So let's say you are in a company A, which is not that known, then you can join the startups which are known. You can join the companies like, let's say, Paytm, Ola, Rivigo, Swiggy, Zomato. So, you can easily get the interview calls from these companies, right? And then if you are working here, if you are working in Paytm or in Ola or in Swiggy, then you can get the interview call very easily from these companies like Google, Facebook, or Microsoft, or Adobe, or Amazon. If your college is not that good, then it's very rare that you will get the direct interview call from these, top tech giants when you're working in this company. So, it can be a two-step process. So you can join these companies, and it's very easy to get the interview call from these companies. The best way is you can get referrals. So I'll talk about the referrals, that how referrals are the best way to get your resume shortlisted. And it is for both. It is for both the working professional and for the college fresher. So if you know someone professionally or personally, then you can contact them to refer you. And if they find your profile is impressive, then most of them will refer you. So referral works everywhere, in these companies and also in these companies, right? But if no one is referring you in these companies, then again, LinkedIn or Naukri.com or other sites will help you to get the interview calls. So you can make a two-step process. And again, the referrals are the best way to get the resume shortlisted for working professionals or for college students. And in fact, if you are from a third-tier college, then it's very rare that you will get the interview call from these top companies. So another way is you can join these companies easily. You can get the interview call from these companies easily. And then if you are here, then you can switch to these companies anytime. So, I mean, the two-step process is for everyone, for the working professionals and for college students. Sometimes if you are from a good college, then also if your luck is not that good, then you may not perform very well in the on-campus placements, and you won't get the job in these top companies, from these top companies on campus. Then the best thing, the other thing that you can do is you can grab any job in the on-campus placements, and then you can try after some time, after 6 months or after 1 year, to join these companies. And if your company is a non-company, then you can easily get the interview call from those top companies. Like I couldn't crack the interviews of Amazon or Microsoft or Adobe when I was appearing for the on-campus placements. So I had to join the Paytm. I mean, Paytm is also a great company, but I mean, my first choice was Amazon or Adobe or Microsoft. But after working 1 year, I got a lot of interview calls from these companies, from Amazon, from Microsoft, and from Adobe. And I appeared in I appeared in Amazon and Adobe's interviews, and I cracked both, and I joined Adobe, right? And when I was in Adobe, I was getting a lot of calls from Facebook and Google also. So now let's talk about the interview preparation, that how someone can prepare for these interviews. So the first thing that you should do is just have a look at the interview experiences of these companies. So on GeeksforGeeks, you can find the interview experience of all these companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Adobe, Google. And these interview experiences will help you to understand the question they ask, the pattern of the interviews, how many rounds they conduct, and which kind of questions they ask. So before starting the preparation, you should know that what exactly they ask, and what are the topics, what are the subjects on which they focus. So basically, these companies focus on your problem-solving skill, your coding skill, and your knowledge of DSN algo. And then they will judge you on the basis of your knowledge of CS fundamentals like operating system, networking, DBMS, OPS, then design. So design had two parts. One is the HLD, high level design, which is called system design, and another is LLD, which is low level design, so which is a part of object related design and design patterns. And they can ask questions on your work, your project. So let me first talk about the interview experiences of freshers, college freshers who are in final year. So the best thing is, of course, you must have a look at the interview experiences of these companies. If you are a college fresher, then you should have a look at the on-campus placement interview experiences. And if you are a working professional, if you have some experience, then you can have a look at the interview experience of those candidates who have cleared the interviews, having that much experience, right? See, if I talk about the interview preparation, it is same for on-campus or off-campus. I mean, the interview pattern and the questions are almost same for both the on-campus and off-campus. So the only difference between on-campus and off-campus is resume shortlisting. In on-campus, companies are coming to your college without seeing your resume. So to go to the face-to-face coding rounds, you don't need to get your resume shortlisted, right? Because companies are coming to your college because of the reputation of your college. In off-campus, your resume matters a lot. If your resume is not that impressive, you won't get the interview call. The first thing is you must have a look at the interview experiences, and then just just know everything about DSN algo, all the basic DSN algo. You don't need to know the advanced DS like let's say trape or binary index tree or some other things, right? You just need to know all the basic DSN algo like arrays, strings, linked list, stack and queue, trees, graph, heaps, divide and conquer, sorting and searching, binary search, dynamic programming, backtracking. So these are the basic DSN algo which you must know, and you should know all these things very well, right? And then you should be able to solve a program with the help of some DSN algo, and then you must be able to write the clean and the compilable code for the same. So the one example of question is, let's say you have to print the left view of a binary tree, right? So to solve this question, they by asking this question, they want to test your problem solving skill. So this is the problem. You have to print the left view of a binary tree, and to solve that problem, you should know about the binary trees, which is a part of DS, data structures, right? And then you have to write the code for the same. So then they will judge your coding skill, that how clean and how fast and how efficiently you are writing the code for a given problem. So these skills are very important. These are most important skill for college freshers or for professionals both, right? Then you must know the CS fundamentals like OS, networking, DBMS, and OPS. Like in OS, the one question is that what is paging, what is segmentation, what is fragmentation, what is deadlock, and what is the reader-writer problem, and what is the semaphore. So these are very common problems on OS. You don't need to know everything of operating system. You just need to know the basic things. And you can Google about the famous interview questions of these subjects, that what are the famous interview questions of operating system, of networking, of DBMS, and you can find these things on GeeksforGeeks. And again, to be good at these things, the best website is GeeksforGeeks. I had also prepared these things from GeeksforGeeks, and I think most of us prepare for the coding thing, for the problem solving thing from GeeksforGeeks only. And then design. See, these things are common for both, for working professional or for college fresher. In design, high level design, which is system design, is only for working professional. And so the one question is, let's say you to design a WhatsApp like system, you to design a Twitter, or the example of LLD, which is low level design. So basically in low level design, they will ask questions on object-oriented design and design patterns. So to a college fresher, they can ask some question on LLD in which you have to apply some basic OOPS concept like polymorphism, inheritance, encapsulation, and some basic design patterns like factory. In LLD, you should know that how to apply the OOPS concepts to design a system. So the one very famous question is designing a parking lot, or design a library, or design an elevator. So these are very common questions, and again, you can have a look at, simply you can Google it about these questions, and you'll find that how you can create these classes and how you can manage the relationship between them. I'll create another video on these things, like how you should approach the questions on LLD. And for HLD, for system design, of course, you should know a lot about the things like what is, how to design the APIs, how to design the DBMS, how to design, which database should be used in which case, and like microservices, a lot of things like scalability, database sharding, a lot of topics are there. But if you're a fresher, they won't ask these things. Let me talk about the work and project. So if you are a working professional, then they can ask questions from your previous work. So you should be well prepared for the same. See, they won't ask questions on your technology very much. So let's say like I had worked on Spring, Java Spring Boot in Paytm, and when I was interviewing for Adobe, then we had a discussion only on my work. They didn't ask any question on Spring or Java or these things. So the focus was only on the coding skills and the CS fundamentals and LLD in my case, because I was I had only experience of 1 year. And the seniors who have cracked the off-campus interviews, and their experience is more than 6-7 years. So from them, so they are asked questions on HLD as well, right? So if your experience is more than 2-3 years, then you must know HLD also. And again, you should know your work, but they won't ask so like if you worked on Spring, if you worked on Python Django, or if you worked on React.js or any framework. So you just need to know the basics of those things. They won't ask some details of that framework because you can't remember, right? And for your work and projects, see, if you are a college fresher and if you have worked on something, let's say if you worked on Spring or on Python Django or machine learning or anything, then they won't expect much from you. So if you are a fresher, if you are a college student, then if you don't know something about that technology or that framework on which you have built your project, that's perfectly fine. If you know the basics well, that's good enough to crack your interviews. But if you are a working professional, then you should know all the details of your project, like why you have used MySQL or why you have used this technology. What are the other options? What are the other alternatives could be for that project, for that work? So you should be prepared for these kind of questions. Yes, this was about the technical interviews. And in last, you can have the HR interview, and in which they will judge you whether you are a cultural fit or not. So basically they can ask, so the best thing for that is just prepare for the common questions like your strength, your weakness, your achievements, your hobbies and these things, and know about the company. So let's discuss some tips and tricks which will help you to crack your interviews and to get your resume shortlisted. So if you're in a college, then don't worry much about your projects and your CGPA. These things won't matter a lot. So if you are good at coding, then you can easily crack the interview, right? And to crack the interview, if your profile is very good at some site, at computer coding, or if you have cracked, let's say GSOC, then you will get a lot of calls. And if you are a working professional, then again, don't worry much about getting the interview call. If you have experience more than 3 years, you will definitely get a lot of calls. So basically, we conduct DSL classes at GeeksforGeeks, and so our students are college freshers and working professionals both. So the very common problem that I have seen among them while preparation is they don't write much code. They just have a look at the logic, and sometimes when they are solving a problem, they just think, okay, so this problem can be done with this logic, but they don't implement the code. And when they get the same problem in the interview, so they can tell the logic easily, but they are not able to write the perfect code, the working code, the clean code, which can cover all the test cases in the interview. So basically in the interviews, you will have 20 to 30 minutes for a coding question. And in that time period only, you have to think about the solution, you have to discuss the solution, and then you have to write the code, and then you have to test your code as well. So the time is not very efficient. So if you have not written the same or the similar code, then it's very tough to write the code in the interview first time, right? And sometimes many people just write the code on their local machine and just run on some test cases. So we can't think of all the test cases of a given problem. So the best thing is just test your code on any online judge. Like for Geeks practice, you can submit your problem, and if your code is not working for all the test cases, then it will show the wrong answer, which means your code is not working for all the test cases. So that is one way to make sure that your code is not missing any corner case. So that's very important in the interviews. And the second thing is, if you know the syntax, then you can write the code easily on pen and paper. So always try to write the code for a problem. And second thing is, think loud. When you are in an interview, then if you're solving a problem, then just talk with the interviewer that, okay, I'm thinking about this thing, I'm thinking like this. Then only they can provide you the hint if required. If you are not thinking loud, if you're not letting the interviewer know about your thought process and about the problem at which you are stuck, then how the interviewer can help you? So it's always better to communicate that, okay, I'm stuck at this point, can you help me? So they will help you, right? And always test your code before giving that code to the interviewer. When you can test manually, because in interviews, your code will be, you just need to write the function, right, in the face-to-face interviews. And you can test your function on some sample inputs, because if the interviewer is finding bugs in your code, that is not a great sign. So always test your code before giving them the code. And the last thing is, you can't ignore the CS fundamentals like operating system, DBMS networking. They can ask questions on these things. And let's say if you are a backend developer, then you should know about the common concepts like what is server, what is HTTP, what is a proxy server, and what is the difference between a GET and POST call. So if you worked on something, then you must know the basics of those things.